What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Just a quick update here. I'm actually going through the process of installing 1.5 inch spacers all around. I've actually got it installed on 3 of the 4 hubs, and I wanted to give you guys just a quick showing of how to do it on this final one. So as it sits, I mean, the vehicle's basically stock. It's got a 1 inch level from the dealer. Tires are Goodyear Wrangler trail runners, and those are 275 65/20s. As you can see here, not a whole lot of poke to them. If you look in the back, I've already added the 1.5 inch spacer to the rear, so you can kind of see. So let me get that focus there. You can kind of see a little bit of pokage there on the tire. So the goal is just to obviously not make it look like it's sunken in. And then if we go to the driver's side, you can kind of see the side's in the air, obviously, so pokes out just a little bit more. I just need to torque the rims down on this side. Currently is jacked up. Again, I did the rear first. I was going through the process of doing the fronts, just completed this one, and I wanted to show you guys the passenger side. Safety precautions to be in place so this thing doesn't roll. Then we're going to jack it up. So I'm currently using a 22mm deep socket. It's an impact socket with a 2-foot breaker bar. These were just loosened up. As you can see here, they're pretty loose. Kind of hard to break them and film at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and pull all of these off, pull the wheel off, and then we'll talk about the spacer. So it's made out of 6061 T6, believe aluminum here. It's for the 6x5.5, and then of course you can see the thread pitch there, and the spacer size is 1.5, so 1.5 inches. These are hub centric, which is very important. For those of you that don't know, on the hub itself, you've got this little lip here. That's what the rim will sit on, just to make sure that it's balanced and it's not putting too much weight on the studs. This thing basically does the same thing. So it'll sit on the hub like so. And then when I go to put the wheel and tire back on, it's got this lip to distribute the weight evenly. So on these particular ones, they did come, just dropped it. They do come with their own lug nuts, so you get the spacer with the studs already attached. You get the lug nuts. These ones, when they go on, I'm using a 19mm for this one. I don't have the Freedom Falcon version of these, so I don't have any SAEs. I've got one that I've been using to work on an older 56 Ford F100, which will be featured on the channel at some point in time. But in regards to using the appropriate sockets, this 19mm is working perfectly fine. Now with this particular kit, it did come with a generic red thread locker similar to Loctite. I'm not doing all of them. I'm only putting it on 2, and I'm usually putting it on 2 studs that are opposite of each other. So I'm torquing this down to specification, which is 140 foot-pounds. I'm going a little bit past that, maybe like 142, 144 for these spacers. And then the wheels are getting the typical torque range of 140, which will go on next. So I'm going to hand tighten all of these. And then when we get to having to torque them down, I'm going to show you guys what to do if you're actually doing this alone. All right, so check this out. Obviously, if you don't have anybody pressing the brake like I showed before, you go to apply some torque to this, and it's just going to spin. So the only way to get around that is, one, to have somebody use the brake. I did this on the driver's side, so of course you're applying torque in the opposite direction. But basically what I did is I took a screwdriver, put it into where the disc brake was at, so then when I went to torque it, again, this is on the driver's side, use the brake caliper to apply pressure and apply torque. So this thing is, obviously it's massive, real thick, including your rotor itself. So That's what I'm gonna do on this side. I'm gonna have to stick it through the bottom because I'm torquing it this direction. So it's gotta go in that way and it's gonna rest against the side of the caliper. So let me get this torque down real quick and then we'll come back and talk. Before I forget, those of you guys that are not familiar with this process, obviously one of the things with putting a spacer on is you're gonna have your stock studs sticking out. And some of you are wondering, like, what the hell am I supposed to do? Do I cut them? At least on the stock GMC wheels, you've got this little recess right here. So these are where the studs will go through. And then in my particular case, I've got a little bit of the other stud poking through, which should fit perfectly within these recesses. And obviously I've got 3 other wheels on. I've had no issues. As long as you mount to that lip, put it on the inside, torque it all down to 140, you're good to go. So just wanted to touch on that real quick. I'm sure some of you guys are wondering, and yeah, let's look at the final product. All right, so here she is. Let's see, just a little bit of a poke front and rear. I have not checked to see if there was any sort of rubbing. I'm going to assume that there is, because on full lock with these tires, there was a little bit on the inside here. So I'm assuming that either some self-clearance is about to happen, or I'm gonna get down and trim these. But for now, I like it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. All right, guys, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take it for a test drive, do a full lock from left to right just to see if there's any sort of rubbing. And I wanna listen with the windows down just to see if I hear anything unusual. Again, everything was torqued to spec in regards to the spacers, about 142 at least to 140 on the spacers. Wheels got put back on, they were torqued as well. And then once everything hit the ground, I went back and retorqued the wheels again. So everything should be good for right now. I fully expect to hear some sort of rubbing going on as the wheel kind of sits further out. But yeah, let's take it for a test drive. Let's listen to see if we hear anything, and I'll report back. Sorry about that glare. I'll report back. We're gonna do 20 miles an hour through the neighborhoods. So far, no weird knocking or metallic noises. Here goes a turn. We do have self-clearancing going on. That noise was a car seat in the back. One of the tags was catching wind. So far, no weird noises other than a slight rubbing on turning left. I'm about to turn right now. Let's see if we hear anything. Some major self-clearancing happening on a right-hand turn. I'm gonna do another turn up here. We're gonna stop and take a look to see if we can catch on video what was rubbing. Alright. So that was fronts only, obviously. I'm gonna pull off right here on the side of the road and we're gonna take a look to see if we can view what was rubbing. So nothing in the front. I can actually stick my hand on the inside. If we look in the back, I'm making contact with this plastic. So I'm either going to self-clearance that on both sides, or I'm just going to take off that plastic. I believe this, I haven't gotten into detail, so don't kill me if you're familiar with it. I believe that's just the mud flap. I could easily look, it's, oh, that, I thought it was tire. That's actually plastic. Yeah, so one or two options. I mean, obviously if you're doing this and you've got the same size tires and you're trying to figure it out, if you have stock tires, I would assume you're not going to rub, but these are obviously taller tires than what came on its stock, probably about an inch more because they're taller. Again, 275, 65, 20s, so the overall diameter is increased by roughly about an inch, so they're slightly taller. But this is what you run into, so it's probably safe to say that that's happening on the same side. As far as the rear goes, I don't see anything happening in the rear. All right, guys, so that was the end of the video. If you have any additional questions that maybe I didn't cover in the video, feel free to leave them down in the comments and we can discuss. Otherwise, I will leave a link to these particular wheel spacers if you guys want 1.5 inch with a little bit of poke. These are probably going to be the ones that you want to get. And as far as the rating goes, I mean, they were highly rated. I mean, I wasn't going to spend a ridiculous amount of money. I want to say that they were like maybe 150, 160 bucks. Again, check the link down below to confirm. But they were highly rated, so didn't see any issues with like people complaining that the studs were breaking or diameters were wrong for the hub or anything like that. So I trusted them. So far so good. We'll go ahead and check within the next like 200 or 300 miles just to make sure everything is still torqued to spec in regards to the spacers, put the wheels back on, and then continue to go from there. So I'll probably check every, I don't know, maybe 1,000, 2,000 miles just to make sure while they're breaking in. I mean, there's not really much to break in as long as you torque everything the way that you should. That Loctite stuff should help. But yeah, I mean, that's the modification for today. I'm hoping that I can have more stuff down the road. I just, you know, I didn't really have that itch to do any more modifications or do any more videos. But with this one, it's starting to come back little by little. So for those of you guys that are OGs of the channel that, you know, like to watch just to, you know, see things come together, I appreciate you. For those of you guys that are brand new, that are here just for the truck content, I'm hoping to have more stuff out there for you coming soon. So in the meantime, appreciate you guys watching, and you guys take care.